Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from around the world, yes, you turned in for a very special evening. We're talking about taxes, we're talking about money, we're talking about your taxes, your money tonight. Eva Rosenberg, taxmama.com. She is in the hizzy this evening. You're listening live to the Exceptional Conservative Show for the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialists. Coming up also in the second hour, Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report. We're going to talk about Sweden. Is it possible that Sweden and rape are becoming synonymous? Maybe it is. I hope y'all like the groove I'm playing tonight. Hopefully you can hear it this time. Oh, you stream. You can also hear us on live stream. We're about to do the flag, so notice where the flags are during the point and click of our flags. Our Pledge of Allegiance. In addition, I'm going to urge everybody. Everybody go into the chat room right now. You want to get your taxes done. You want to get them done right. This is the place to be. We are going to answer your tax questions tonight like they've never been answered before. It's certainly not the way the Internal Revenue Service will answer them. We're going to actually answer them correctly. So, that jacket is missing a cavender. You know what? I should have gotten one. I apologize. Thank you so much. Mary Brockman is my executive producer from the chat room, the Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECN chat room. She is in the hizzy this particular evening. Mary Brockman, we love you. Smooches to you. Smooches to you. Mary Brockman is my bouncer in chief. If you diss her, you diss me, and you will be dismissed from our chat room. It will be quick, just like that. Don't play. So glad to have you here. Eva Rosenberg is in our chat role this evening. You know her better as Tax Mama from taxmama.com. You know her from her books. Deduct Everything is one of those. I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and get this book tonight. Get it as quickly as you possibly can. And also Small Business Taxes Made Easy. Small Business Taxes Made Easy. And also Deduct Everything. Yes, Tax Mama is up in the hizzy this particular evening. She's going to answer your tax questions. And I know for a fact people are calling me to get their taxes done and stuff like that. And I really want you to talk with a great professional. Barack El Presidente Obama is in the hizzy. Thank you so much for being here. Claudia Cheek is in here. We love you, Claudia. Smooches to you. Dave Milner, the unpleasant blind guy. He's tonight known as Jungle Bungle. He's in our house. But a great wealth of intellectual knowledge is in that camp. But tonight, I want you all to ask your questions. Don't wait to the last minute to get your questions answered. And we're going to talk about some changes that have been taking place with Obamacare and other tax changes. Some of you all might notice that there's a huge difference between your refund last year and your refund this year. And I don't mean on the upside. It looks like on the downside. Yeah, it's what you voted for and you got it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about all of that tonight. We want you to encourage your friends. El Presidente Obama, Claudia Cheek, Dave Milner, Mary Brockman. Encourage your friends to come into the chat room. They are struggling to get their taxes done. They are completely out of their minds at this point because the tax system doesn't appear to be working. Well, it's actually working against them. So Eva Rosenberg is with us tonight. This is the best time to get your taxes prepared and done. Oh, yeah, pretty pictures. Thank you, Eva. Small business taxes made easy. You can find info about it here at yourbusinessbible.com. Yourbusinessbible.com. And also deducteverythingbook.com. There you go. Thank you, Eva. You're making it so easy for me this evening. You make me look competent. You know what we do when we kick this show off, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the hour in which we do it, the moment in which we do it. I pointed to the flags earlier. There's some flags behind me for those who are watching via Ustream. For those who are watching via live stream, there's a huge flag right over here that you can put your right hand over your heart and pledge to. And for those who are listening to us via SHR Media Live, High Plains Pundit Media Live, and also for the Liberty Channel at 2 a.m. All you need to do is find a flag and pledge to it. Here we go. Let the kiddies lead us in tonight's Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Woo! There you go. I recommend highly make certain your kids say it before they go to school. You might not find someone at the school who really enjoys doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, a woman of great prestige and great accolade in the field of tax preparation and tax advice and counsel, certainly an advisor to many in that particular world, the author of two great books, if you want to get your taxes done and done right. Those are Deduct Everything and also Small Business Taxes Made Easy. None other than Eva Rosenberg. Good evening, Eva. It's a pleasure having you back with us this week.
Hi, Ken, and it is great to be here. I love your energy.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, they used to try to give me medicine for that.
And the fools.
Eva, you've been doing taxes for a long period of time and advising and counseling individuals at taxmama.com. You give Americans the opportunity to ask you one free question every year. Do they really take advantage of that early, or do they wait to the last minute?
Well, it's not one free question. Some people ask endless questions. And we don't really put a limit on it unless it gets really annoying. I've got one guy who might ask 3 questions a day. So no, just come to taxmama.com, click on Ask a Question, and just before you were starting, my heart just breaks. I got a question from a lady whose husband is disabled, and he finally got the Social Security disability, and she understood how to spread that over several years. So she got the lump sum in 2015. But in January 2016, she says, he got over $100,000 from his pension, and she thought she'd be able to do the same thing and spread it out. Instead, she is stunned. They owe $40,000 on this payout because she didn't ask me first. If she had asked me first, I would have told her, roll it all into an IRA, take the money out a little bit at a time when you need it, and then you don't have any taxes coming out until you need it and when you're in a lower tax bracket. This puts her into a huge tax bracket, both for IRS and California.
Ooh, California too. Ooh. Oh.
Can you imagine a state? Okay, Hawaii.
Oh my God, that's crushing. And
it's crushing. This is why I started taxmama.com, and it's been about, God, it seems like it's about 15 years or 16 years. I started it specifically so that people who don't know who to ask can come somewhere before they do something big financially. We don't charge you anything. We just answer your question, and we don't even try to sell you anything.
Exactly. You know, but here's the answer I get from a lot of people. I'm not going to Tax Mama and I'm not going to get her books because my cousin, he be doing my taxes for me. I don't know what he does, but I get a refund every year. It's
Oh, I love him. And you know what? A lot of people are going to this guy who's doing this and gives them big refunds. And think about this. If somebody can get you a bigger refund than just anybody else can, if you go to a regular tax professional, is there something wrong?
might be just slightly might be something wrong with the picture. And listen, I can't generalize the competencies of individuals, but I doubt very seriously if those individuals that do it in the back of the liquor store in exchange for 2% of your refund, or 5% or whatever, or you have to buy some liquor.
That's illegal.
Yeah, no. I don't know if you should really put your faith and confidence in that guy. But Tax Mom, you've been doing this for almost 20 years now. You are an accredited tax specialist. And there are some people that believe, wait a minute, my taxes are too little. I mean, it's not complicated enough for me to even ask a question. And I don't want to be stupid when I ask a question. Should we fear asking a stupid question at tax time?
Well, it depends on how stupid it is. Some people really do ask stupid questions. But okay, let's talk about people who don't think they need to pay anybody for help. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the IRS says that there are over 50 million taxpayers who can get their tax returns done for free through the Free File Alliance that IRS has with about a dozen tax professionals. This is true, and it's a good thing. People who have relatively simple tax returns, who don't have businesses, investments, and things like that, who are qualified to get education credits and earned income credits, literally can get their tax returns done free online through this service. But here's what's happening this year.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something I really want you to warn everybody, because not just tonight, as you talk to other people, this is so important. I'm seeing advertisements for a company called Credit Karma. Have you seen those?
Yes. It's free, I tell you. It's free.
It's free. It's free. And people have started writing to me in the past week. So far, I've heard from 2 people, and it's consistent. They're messing up their state return or not filing their state return at all. And there is nobody at Credit Karma to help them or respond to them or fix the problem. And one woman is basically saying, well, I thought I'd filed as head of household, but the federal tax return went through and got processed as single, and I don't know how to fix it. And I'm going to tell you, this is not what you want to do. If they want to file their tax returns for free, it's okay. But just use one of the companies that are in the IRS's Free File Alliance, because IRS has vetted them, and they are the regular companies that do tax returns like H&R Block and TurboTax and 1040. There are regular companies that do this, and they have been doing this through IRS in a special program where they are not allowed to upsell anything, and many of the states have cooperated with this, and it can be done for free through the states as well. So please tell people to avoid this free Credit Karma, because there's another word for another SH word rather than one. But Shiva is good too.
Whatever you the people, ladies and gentlemen, if it sounds too good, it really is. And stay away from Credit Karma and be very untrusting this time of the year, because there are people who may have not taken the same type of counsel or testing or advisement and their studies, as of course Eva Rosenberg has. Oh my God, the qualities that she has, and quite frankly, are not in it for you. They're simply not in it for you. They're in it for what they can get from you and get out of you. Tonight we have Miss Eva Rosenberg, and I am so honored. She's going to be back in also March and April, right before tax season, when the professionals, the real professionals who waited to the last minute, will say, but
My favorite people. But can I tell you something that may surprise you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions.
Uh-oh.
Your hairdresser, does he or she have to have a license from the state, a cosmetology license?
In the district, uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Child care, they have to have licenses?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Tax professionals, people who prepare tax returns, do not have to be licensed anywhere in the United States except for California, Oregon, and Maryland. No other states in the entire union have specific education, training, or skill requirements except for these 3 states. Did you know that?
Wow, I did not know that. I did not. That is a shock to me because you're dealing with someone's personal wealth, uh, and that person's not going to show up in the courtroom to protect you or to represent you.
No. And so these people in 47 other states don't have to have any kind of licensing, but you have CPAs who are trained and licensed. You have enrolled agents who are trained and licensed. And IRS tried to put a program in place requiring education and training. And a group of like 3 tax professionals who didn't want to spend the money because it's too expensive to go to continuing education. They sued the IRS. There was a case called Loving versus Commissioner. I don't love that name. Loving versus Commissioner killed the requirement for tax professionals to be professional.
Wow.
So instead, there is something called the AFSP, which is a voluntary certificate of completion. It's not a license or certification. And these people around the country get this certificate of completion after taking 18 hours of continuing education and passing a 100-question test. Now, do you want to know how many tax professionals in the country have done this?
It's got to be at least 10 or 15,000, 100,000. It's got to be a large number.
No, it's a small number. It's probably about 50,000. There are 400 to 500,000 tax professionals with no training or credentials.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Folks, beware. I mean, seriously, beware. There are some tax professionals who don't have these other certifications in states near you, but who do get training and education. And these are people who are members of organizations like the National Association of Tax Professionals or certain other national associations that require continuing education. So if you're in a state that doesn't require licensing, then find out what your tax professional's credential is. If it's some guy at your auto dealership trying to get your refund so you can use it as a down payment.
Oh
my God, run!
Please forgive me for laughing, ladies and gentlemen, but we really have dumbed down the whole idea of consumer finance to such a convenience level that we have made it very inconvenient on the back end in terms of results. And my God, when you find out that someone did your tax return and now after the audit you owe $4,000 or $5,000, and you can't find this person at the liquor store anymore, you're on your own. And so that's why you should get in contact with taxmama.com, taxmama.com. And I will continue to say taxmama.com all evening long. That's TAXMAMA.com. And if you don't get into our chat roll tonight, because I am foregoing all commercials in this first hour, that's how important this is to me. I'm forgoing all commercials in this hour because you need Eva to help you. Now, I'm not going to do that the next time she comes on because I still need to make some money. But in March and April, when she comes back, it's not going to be the same way. But this is your opportunity. You know, you have friends, you have family who want to get their taxes done. By golly, you want to make certain that they get in this chat room tonight and ask whatever question they possibly can. And really, at this point, there is no stupid question. Now, April 15th or April 18th, asking me when taxes are due, that will be a stupid question. Now,
yeah, please. You know, it's okay to file for extensions early.
mm-hmm.
It's really okay to file for extensions early. You don't have to wait till April 15th if you're going to do that.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, Eva Rosenberg is with us tonight. We're going to challenge her with some questions here. The first question I want to ask her is regarding Obamacare. Now, a friend of mine told a friend of mine who told a friend of mine that I didn't have to pay Obama taxes this year. Is that true?
All right. So we all know that President Trump signed an executive order earlier this year, and he says, penalties be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, the king made that announcement, and it sounds great, but here's the truth. Until Congress passes legislation, it isn't the law of the land. So here's what happened, and you're going to find this a little bit interesting. The IRS, who, you know, the commissioner of the IRS serves at the pleasure of the president, decided that what they're going to do is they're going to bypass the law for the moment. They have removed on their computers the code, the system that's looking for the code on your tax return that says you do or don't have insurance coverage. So under the law, when you file your tax return right now, you have to check off whether or not you have coverage, or if you didn't have enough coverage and owe penalties, okay? Right now, the IRS has removed that code so that you can electronically file your tax return, not get the penalty, and get your full refund. But
Here's the but.
Okay, IRS says we are waiting to see what legislation passes. And if Congress passes legislation to make this penalty go away, fine. If they don't get around to doing that, those folks who did not check that box will be hearing from us in a few months. So just understand that you're going to be able to file right now, and it's okay. And it's okay if you file now and get your refund. But if you know that you would have owed that penalty, put the money aside, because if Congress doesn't pass legislation and they get their act together and start being friendly, you're going to have to give it back.
Now, you hit on a very key point, because a lot of people, and we're talking with Eva Rosenberg of TaxMama.com, a lot of people have been groomed over the past 8 years that we did have a king with a pen on the phone. And literally what he says is the law of the land. The truth of the matter is the Constitution clearly states that the legislature is the one who creates that law. But there are lots of people who go on hearsay, and based on that hearsay, don't make the second part of what you stated important to them. Setting the money aside. What they will do is use their entire refund for a down payment on a car or for a vacation. And then all of a sudden, we figure out that we can't do a repeal and replace by the end of this year. It has to wait until the second year during a congressional election period. And then all of a sudden, people are like, oh, my God, I got a letter that says I owe $800. That is so important.
That's going to be hard to come up with for the average person. That's a lot of money.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen,
hang on to the money if you're getting a refund that you know doesn't necessarily belong to you. Now, and then just one second, White Mamba said he did his mom's taxes on TaxSlayer. TaxSlayer is inexpensive. They are terrific, and you can call them for information. They are one of the good folks, one of the good guys, just so you know.
Awesome. Thank you, Mamba, for that question, and thank you for that answer, Eva. Uh, and it does make a difference. I've been hearing since the Super Bowl that I need to win my taxes this year. Not get them done, but I need to win. Is that a guarantee or an assurance that whoever does my taxes at that particular green place, that they were done right, and that we win?
No, I really want to call those guys. I've got my contacts. I really want to call those guys and see if I can challenge their Watson computer database that they're building.
Mhm.
Let me tell you about H&R Block. Their storefronts, I think, don't always do the best job for you.
Mhm.
But if you have a really complicated tax return and you don't necessarily want to go to a regular tax professional and you don't want to pay the storefront's fees, which really add up the more complicated your tax return gets, H&R Block has something they don't advertise called the best of both.
Mm.
And for about $100, you start working on your tax return. Then you get in touch with somebody at H&R Block. They're going to review everything you've done. You have unlimited phone time with them. They will sign your return. They will electronically file it for you, and they will give you audit protection and send an enrolled agent to take care of your audit for you. So
Wow.
H&R Block's best of both product, I think, is one of the best kept secrets on the market.
Wow. And so you can ask for this when you go in. Um, because sometimes I've heard from people who said they've gone in H&R Block and they felt like they had gone to the gym, where it's like, listen, watch my hands. I'm going to cut the price tag and this, and we'll move on, and we'll include a gym bag.
Well, it's a trade-off, and it depends on the office you go to. I teach people to become enrolled agents, to pass the IRS special enrollment exam.
Mhm.
And a lot of my students, my graduates, work at H&R Block offices, and some of them are amazing, and they will go above and beyond to help their clients and to solve their problems and resolve their tax problems more than anybody I know. And can I tell you one little story?
Sure.
I referred a former client of mine who hadn't filed for 11 years
Mm,
since the last time I saw him. I
mm.
referred him to somebody I know who is a former IRS collections officer who's in the business of doing, these prior years and then solving the collections issue, getting him an offer in compromise.
Mhm.
And this guy called me and he complained to me and he says, this guy you sent me to charged me $950 a year for each of those prior years.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit much, and I have to talk to the guy I referred him to. But he says, I went to H&R Block, and H&R Block said that they would have done these same years using the same information I gave the guy for less than $2,000.
Wow.
Okay, so it's a trade-off. I don't want to diss a company entirely because there are good people in many of their offices, especially since I've trained some of them.
Exactly.
But I don't like the offices as much as I do that best of both service. And it's cheaper than going into the office.
Exactly. Exactly. We're talking tonight with the author of Small Business Taxes Made Easy, Eva Rosenberg. She is also the author of Deduct Everything. I'm showing you these books. I want you to get these books now before you start getting going with your taxes. We had a question from the chat roll from Ralph Chittums. Eva, how would you rate Tax Act versus TurboTax?
Okay, Ralph, did you know that for many years H&R Block was using Tax Act as the underlying software for their system, and they tried to buy it, but the Securities and Exchange Commission blew that transaction. So Tax Act is a fairly decent program, and it's also a really good value, and you can get a certain amount of help from them. TurboTax puts a fortune. I mean, they have the budget of some small nations, maybe even some large nations.
Mm-hmm.
They put a lot of money and effort into getting their programs to work for you, to work intuitively with whatever it is you're doing. And a few years ago, they instituted a program called Ask the Tax Expert, where if you have a problem and you don't know what to do with something, you can get to somebody who will actually look at what you're doing on your computer or in your tax file, and they can fix it for you. And one of my earliest graduates is one of their experts, and I hear the stories all the time about what she's accomplishing. And so if you end up getting Chris, as when you're doing TurboTax and you ask for the expert's help, you will be so lucky. But I've known several of my graduates are in that program, and they're terrific. They will go out of their way to help you.
Now, I want to ask you something in regards to the experts that you train, because as an enrolled agent, you are certainly the creme de la creme. What is it that you look for in terms of a talented and competent tax preparer?
Well, one of the first things I look for is somebody who annoys the heck out of me.
Question after question, pepper, pepper, pepper.
Absolutely. Keeps asking questions, keeps pushing, keeps telling me that I'm wrong. People who are like that are extremely annoying, but they get it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? When the tax code is so big that I know that everything that I put into the material is not always 100% correct. And when they find me in an error, one of the things that happens is whenever you find me in an error, you're going to remember it forever. And so that stays with them when they take the exam. So I am jazzed. I mean, it's kind of a game. But those are the people that I know are going to be amazing as tax professionals. And some of them really kind of scare me because they do know so much, and they're so detailed. And we have this morning breakfast meeting here in the San Fernando Valley for tax professionals, and several of my graduates happen to be here in the area, and they come there. One of them is the consummate researcher. So this is what I look for, and the graduates that I have that I know are that good, I find ways to do things with them or farm work out to them. In fact, this morning I taught a class on the tax aspects of divorce that people need, a tax checklist for divorce that you should be giving your attorney or that tax professional should be working with. And I did this with two of my graduates because they are divorce mediators. They know more than I do about that topic.
Wow. Now, in terms of, wow, that opened up a can of worms right there, because everyone is happily married.
Some of us are.
Exactly.
We weren't always, were we?
Exactly. Everyone is. But there's that ground. And we're talking tonight with Eva Rosenberg. You need to go to taxmama.com. There's also smallbusinessbible.com. Am I correct in terms of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, small business, yourbusinessbible.com is where once you buy the book, in that when you log in over there, you have the special secret access code, you're going to be able to download the checklist, because every chapter of Small Business Taxes Made Easy has a checklist for you to work through whatever the issues are. And there are a bunch of interesting charts in the book. And so we've posted all of the charts into yourbusinessbible.com so you can print them out and make them bigger. And so you can use the checklist to help set up your business correctly and deal with your tax issues.
Okay.
And so that's in that website.
Exactly. Eva Rosenberg is with us, and also the author of Deduct Everything, for you consummate professionals who look at your tax return and think, oh my God, do I really owe that much? Well, maybe you didn't take a look at this particular book, Deduct Everything. I'm encouraging you to go get the book. Can they go to taxmama.com and get your book?
I don't actually sell it.
Okay.
But but Amazon does. And for people who actually want to buy it in volume for their clients or want to give them as gifts, on yourbusinessbible.com, there's an order here page. And if you scroll all the way down, you'll find an order form to get it in volume. And also, there's the Bookshout people have an e-reader tool that also lets you track things and gives you all kinds of other really neat features for ebooks that you can download for free. So that's another thing that I just got through arranging last week. Oh, by the way, Ken, the book won a gold award last week.
Oh, congratulations! Deservedly
Yeah,
so. Deservedly so.
It's the #1 business reference book for 2017 from Axiom Awards. So that was just such a shock. But it is good. It is really helpful. And the whole point is that there is so much that you need in your business. You know how many things you need to take care of in your business, and we overlook so much of that. So the book is really more about how to run your business profitably and to cut your taxes than just about taxes.
Exactly. Now, there are people who are sitting back at home and they're thinking to themselves, I don't really have a. Oh, let me just ask the questions regarding divorce before I go into the business portion of it. In terms of divorce, I never did the taxes. My husband did it, or my wife did it. I really don't know what my financial situation is like. What should I do?
Oh God. You when I lived in Irvine, I used to do a free workshop for people getting divorced for exactly this reason.
Mhm.
Because usually it's one person dominating the finances, either the man or the woman. Not rarely do they both handle things together. And so not just in divorce, but in death,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
other person has no clue where the records are, has no clue how things were put together. And so sometimes it takes a certain amount of detective work to sort through this.
Yeah.
Dave says, begins with bend over. But, God. But a tax professional in the class this morning brought up the issue that in the course of the divorce, the business was the husband's business, and he refused to give any information to his wife so she can file her married filing separate return. He just threw her a number and says, "This is your half of the income, and I'm not giving you any deductions. Deal with it." And he
Wow.
wanted to know how to deal with it. So the answer to that is in the Tax Mama Tax Quips forum, and you can read it for free, so it's no big deal.
Now, there's some women and some men who suffer from domestic violence, and they have to escape from the home, of course. And
If only they would.
yeah, really. And when they do, uh, they are faced now with tax penalties because the other guy or the other gal didn't file any tax returns. They got their money on the down low, got a couple of 1099s, no taxes taken out. And so they're going to be vehemently penalized, right? Is there any option for such persons?
Yeah, there is.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something called the innocent spouse. There's a form for innocent spouse where if you filed a joint return, you can now get out of the balance due on those taxes that you really didn't understand were your responsibility, didn't really benefit from. But for a lot of people, this isn't going to work because they lived on that money and that never bothered to ask questions about what was going on, and they signed the return. And in fact, the IRS themselves have this concept called conflict of interest, where the director of professional response of the Office of Professional Responsibility at the IRS has been teaching tax professional seminars
Yes.
on the concept that we are facing conflicts of interest when we face a couple and they have this huge balance due that one person caused, and we don't tell the other spouse about this problem and how they are going to be held responsible if they file a joint return. So I have been actively teaching this and spreading this wisdom to tax professionals to get them to pay attention and notify both spouses about this problem because if they don't file a joint return, it's usually her.
Mhm.
She isn't going to end up being responsible for his taxes. And even though his taxes are going to end up higher because they're married filing separately, she will file her own separate return with taxes she can manage and pay that she is responsible
Awesome.
for.
Awesome. Now, we put the.
Thank you for posting that form.
Thank you so much. The form is 8857. It's a request for innocent spouse relief. You can find it at the irs.gov, and you can ask about form 8857. You just put it into search, it will pop up, and you'll get all the details and information about the innocent spouse release. But here's the other part.
I love Google.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Here's the other part to that, and it is the claiming of a child. And this has caused a dramatic decrease in the ability for the Internal Revenue Service to dole out refunds this particular year. Can you tell us exactly why that's a problem this year and what forms need to be used?
Okay. The issue here is a lot more complex than we can really get into, but here is the foundation to this. There are two issues here. One is refundable credits. Mm-hmm. Refundable credits are money that the IRS gives you even if you haven't paid anything in. And there are three major refundable credits that work this way. One of them is the child tax credit, which is $1,000 per child. Mm-hmm. The other is the American Opportunity Credit that has a $1,000 refundable portion and another $1,500 that just reduces your taxes. And then there's the earned income credit, which if you have 3 children or more can be worth over $5,000. And these refundable credits are the targets of fraud, flat out fraud. And this is what IRS and Criminal Investigation Division is trying to stop. So they have millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars going out in fraudulent returns. So that's the first part of this issue. And that's why those refunds get held up, and that IRS has insisted that businesses file their W-2s and 1099s by January 31st, so IRS can finally cross-reference the tax returns with the information on real W-2s, not things people made up. So that's the first part of the problem, is fraud. Mm-hmm. The other part is couples who are separated or divorced fighting over who's really entitled to get the child.
Bingo!
And, that is an ugly situation. And my whole 2 hours that we spent teaching this course on the checklist for divorce was about how to get tax professionals to make the split equitable and fair for tax purposes so it stays peaceful afterwards. The reality is that the jerk who is irresponsible will file early in the year to grab all of these benefits. Yes. And then the person who's really entitled can't get their tax return filed electronically. Don't worry about that. Mm-hmm. If you are the one who is entitled to get the benefits, you file your tax return on paper. You include information like a Form 8332 that the other person hopefully has signed, or if not, you include information with your paper tax return attached to it that proves that you were the custodial parent. Mm-hmm. You send this in. IRS isn't going to bother you again. They're going to go after the jerk.
Thank you.
And you don't have to fight.
You don't have to fight. It doesn't have to be. And I know that there are a lot of single parents out there who go through this. And when I was performing that tax service, talking with them about that, and there were a lot of situations where grandma early claimed the grandchild, and it really sucked to be you. And there was always a battle in terms of who's going to do it. And it does take a few months to get your refund back, if not later than June or July, something like that. So you gotta talk about that stuff beforehand. Now, White Mamba, and this is just to show everybody who's listening, that if you were in the chat room, you would have had this opportunity. really a good complex question here, White Mamba. I've got a nitpicky question that is kind of bugging me. On Form 1099-R, Statement of Annuity Paid, I noticed that it said unknown in Box 2A, taxable amount. They referred me to the simplified method, which was kind of silly. And I wound up showing all of the modest gross distribution as taxable. No taxes were taken in the annuity, and my mom covers her FEP health insurance as a federal employees program, health insurance with it. It didn't affect her return, all Social Security income in this annuity, so zero owed and zero return. Wonder how I don't know what the rest of that particular question is, but what is that all about?
But I understand that. But I understand the question.
Great. See, that's great wisdom there.
My crystal ball works, and I do mind reading. You have no idea how good I am at this. So, White Mamba, I understand your frustration. And here is the issue. When it comes to annuities, if the annuity was bought with after-tax money, for instance, somebody paid in $50,000 and let it grow for 50 years or whatever, that annuity has a basis of $50,000. And so out of the money that's coming from that annuity, you don't have to pay tax on $50,000 of it. And are you going to compute that $50,000 by not taxing the first $50,000 you get, or spreading it out over the expected life expectancy of the person receiving the annuity? So you can do it a couple of different ways to figure out how to spread that $50,000, because that will all have to come back, or should come back, tax-free. A lot of people don't know how to do this, or they don't know what to do, or they don't know how much was paid, so they don't do it. But if this is an annuity based on, you mentioned federal employee health insurance, based on after-tax after-tax money and pre-tax money, so it was never taxed because it was paid in to a 457 plan or something like that, to an employee pension plan in a government agency, none of that money was ever taxed in the first place. And in that case, there is no basis, and all of the annuity is taxable. So you have to explore and do some research to find out how the annuity was created, and if the money that went into it was ever taxed. If it was taxed, it has a basis. But most of the time, when it comes out, we often don't know by the time they come to us.
Exactly. I want to go with a small business question, and then let you have the eve of rest for being on our program tonight, the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. I'm your host, Kevin Clinton. We're talking about taxes tonight with Eva Rosenberg. This would not be her last time on. She'll be back one more time in March and one more time in April. And when she's on, I'm encouraging everybody, you need to invite your friends. Instead of sitting around the water cooler quizzing each other and getting the same reply, you need a good answer. Eva can provide that for you. I'm sitting at home, and I'm sitting here looking at receipts and things and wondering how I can deal with my small business taxes on my Schedule CEZ or my Schedule C. And I don't know exactly what I'm doing. What is the number one deduction that is overlooked by small businesses, and what process should they follow to get their taxes done in their best benefit?
That's an interesting question. It's not so much the number one deduction.
Mm-hmm.
It's the total of the deductions that's overlooked, because people don't keep records.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I had a client whom I challenged one year, because you may have met him. He comes to my office, and when I ask him what his travel expenses were, and this is a man who traveled extensively because he was a comedian on cruise ships.
Ah.
So he was traveling all over the world, and he came to me, and he looked up at my ceiling, and he found the answers on my ceiling.
Wow, you got a pretty good ceiling.
I great ceiling. And you know, I told him, sweetheart, this year I'm going to challenge you. I bet you that if you actually keep track of all of your expenses, that $5,000 that you found on my ceiling will become 10 or 20. And he actually tracked his expenses the following year, the tips, the transfers from ships to boats to airports to whatever. And on the ship, he tipped heavily to get his ironing done and to get various services from the staff and the setup people, at the showroom and everything. And when he looked at it, it was closer to $15,000 or more.
Wow.
So when he actually tracked a lot of the out-of-pocket cash expenses, the reality is most people don't dare to guess at how much they really spent. Their guesstimates are low.
Mm-hmm.
And let me answer Dave's question about specifically for blind folks.
Yes.
Both the books have been recorded. They are available on audio, on Audible, or It's Deductible is already out as a CD, and Small Business Taxes Made Easy is coming out on CD. So I have recorded both books.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Awesome. So for those people who keep every piece of paper, I'm quite envious of you. Because I have often used the ceiling method myself. But but it's also good for people to keep their ATM records and things of that particular nature, their bank statements and stuff like that to refer back to. Am I correct?
Yeah, it helps to have all of that. The ATM records, not so much, because it will show up on your bank statements and you can print that information out. But the credit card receipts, for instance, you take a deduction for Office Depot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you add up all of the Office Depot expenses, you've got $3,000 for the year. But when you went to Office Depot, your child was having a birthday party and you got that wonderful stationery that you can print on for the invitations and the goodies and party favors. And while you were there, you had to get one of the video games for your child. And they have all of those goodies over there, the snacks and things that you can pick up. And you probably have, $500 or $600 worth of non-business stuff. So IRS doesn't believe your credit card statement. They believe the receipt. And we had an audit. One of my friends, an enrolled agent, works with a lot of Russians. And you know how they can be sometimes with their finances. And this man was being audited. And we went through to prepare for the audit. And we found out his $50,000 Costco bill, which was theoretically for the supplies in his office and treats for the clients that would come to his office, actually the patients, high scale medical practice, turned out to be $50,000 worth of personal expenses.
Ooh.
Yes. We had a long chat with him about what we were going to have to reveal to the IRS, and that he might lose his medical license because of the fraud. So he'd better get his act together so we can have him keep his license. So I have protected the licenses of doctors and attorneys over the years who might have lost them because they did bad things. Wow. We didn't lie to the IRS, but we mitigated the criminality of it.
Exactly. But in all earnestness, just like eventually someday you get big enough where you leave a home, there might be a time when your income and your businesses and things of that nature make you so big where you need help. And it's good to ask for help, right?
Sure. And when you can go to a place like taxmama.com for free, why not ask for the help? It's not even like you've got to go pay somebody $100 or a couple $100, but when you have a situation that is complex and that really needs some time, I will tell you that you need to see somebody. And if you need a referral, I can do that.
Awesome.
So there's no excuse not to get help when you can get reliable help with no strings attached.
And if you get help early enough, you might not have to deal with divorce. It's just that simple.
Were you at my class today? That was one of the other things. My teaching partners, Armand Dallo and Robin Dallo, one of the things they do, they're divorce mediators. One of the things they do is they do this last look program to try to see if they can get the couple back together instead of getting the divorce.
Yes.
I love that idea because a lot of people get remarried.
Exactly. Now, Eva, you've done above and beyond what I could even ask or think this particular evening. Thank you for staying with us for nearly the whole hour, the first hour of the Exceptional Conservative Show at the exceptionalconservativeshow.com. There are questions that are beginning to flow in now. And where can these individuals go to ask you these particular questions that we can't address in this hour because it's already gone?
Just come to taxmama.com and click on Ask a Free Question.
Awesome.
It's really right there, right at the top of the page, and we will answer. Usually, I'll answer by the following morning, so don't expect an answer instantly. But I have Team Tax Mama answering questions all day long. People come and go when they have free time.
Exactly. And one other thing, if I've already done my taxes, do I need to ask you any questions?
You might, and you might realize you did something wrong. That's another thing I'm getting. People who filed early and now realize they made a mistake. There is a way to override the tax return you've just filed if you correct it before April 18th. So you can send in a paper return and write the word superseded return in bright red on all the pages, and it will replace your original return. Just make sure you take into account whatever refunds you got or whatever you paid with the return, and you can take care of it.
Eva Rosenberg, ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to remember, I made a commitment to you all at the beginning of the year to make you more prosperous than you've ever been. I want you to know that you need to stay tuned and get it out to your family and your friends that when Eva Rosenberg is on in March and on in April, this place needs to be packed. And it needs to, so that you can get your questions addressed, because I want to make certain that you're not spending your life worried about the IRS man knocking on your door, but you're actually enjoying your life to the fullest of its glory. Eva Rosenberg, deduct everything, get the book, and it's easy to go to her particular site to get deduct everything. First and foremost, taxmama.com is where you want to go. And Eva, we love you. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. I want to let everybody know all of the details of how to get your stuff for the. Did this just go? Okay, how we do that? Okay, there you go. Okay, that's Tax Mama. Okay, and for those who want to deduct everything, this is how you do it. And stop talking about you did your tax return already. I don't need to ask no questions. I'll just wait till next year. Don't do that. If you can get more money back, go ahead and do it this year. And if you are a small business, and you're sitting there tonight and you're using that calculator with the little arm that puts the paper up in the air and you don't know what you're doing, call or write to Tax Mama. Do it today. Do it tonight. She'll get back with you, and she'll make referrals to you of competent individuals, as she is an enrolled agent with a multitude of success. Gold book, okay? Come on, people. #1 business book. I am not misleading you. I am telling you the direction you need to go to make certain that you get your questions addressed rightly. Eva Rosenberg is that person. Eva, we love you, and we thank you so much for coming on tonight. Can you tell everybody the 3 places they need to go tonight before you leave?
Sure. You want to go to taxmama.com or yourbusinessbible.com for the Deduct Everything book. I'm sorry, for the Small Business Taxes Made Easy book, and Deduct Everything book for the Deduct Everything book. And you can win a copy of Small Business Taxes Made Easy. I've got a an Amazon contest running right now that will go through the 25th. So just click on this Amazon link and follow the instructions.
Oh, thank you.
I forgot all about that.
Thank you so very much, Eva. And this was well worth doing for everybody. Make certain tonight that you put this link for the show and all the other links for this particular great writer out as quickly as you possibly can, because some people will, because I'm a conservative, they don't want to come in and listen or get into the chat roll. And I can understand that. That's fine with me. But I want to make certain that even those down low listeners in Washington, D.C., and I know who you are because I know the numbers. I see the numbers. You're listening to me on a down low and you want to ask a question, but you don't want people to see that you listen to a conservative talk show in Washington, D.C. Get in contact with Tax Mama tonight. Leave a message for her via taxmama.com. There's a great answering available to you. Do it tonight. Get it done tonight. Don't wait till tomorrow morning talking about I'll when I get to work. Don't do that. Do it tonight when you have the opportunity. Tax Mama will answer your question. And I'm telling you, Eva, you are just a great friend to all of us here at the Exceptional Conservative Network. And we look forward to you coming back in March.
Happy to be here, even if you are a conservative, and I will be back in March.
Thank you. Thank you, Eva. You see, even if I am, which means she isn't.
You are a joy.
God,
and
thank you.
your audience is clever and interesting. Love the question. So everybody have a less taxing day.
Thank you so much, Eva. We love you. We look forward to you come back in March. All right. Eva Rosenberg, I am telling you, what a great joy to have her on the air with us tonight. When we come back from this particular break, because I do have to do a break, Janis Hall, J Hall World Report, will be with us, and we will be talking about Sweden. And my God, you should be concerned. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Hi, my name is Willie Lawson of The Willie Lawson Show here on the Exceptional Conservative Network, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. They told me that I needed to be humble, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. So I decided to be awesome instead. That's The Willie Lawson Show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. here on the Exceptional Conservative Network.
The best late night conservative talk show in America. Sackheads Radio. And listen, there are no people better on the air to give you the best in conservative talk than Sackhead Sean and Sackhead Clint. And we're working on integration papers for a certain other guy who happens to work there too. For those who are tuning in around the world to the best late night conservative talk, Sackheads Radio. The best late night conservative talk show in America. In America.
And in this web was a large, I'm pretty sure it was the biggest spider I've ever seen.
The bloviating Zeppelin. He's big-footed enough radio shows to last a lifetime, courtesy of Sean, Clint, Ken, and Jersey Joe. Now it's time for him to waddle on his own 2 feet via the glorious SHR media. Gird thy loins for the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon, coming soon to ossicles near you. Excelsior.
From the war front to the streets of our nation's capital, men of faith, Dr. Michael Jones, the underground professor, and Kenneth McClinton, the exceptional conservative, bring both constitutional gravitas and spiritual perspective on today's issues to the most influential Christian urban talk show, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, Thursdays. It's a new day on New Day, Black and Red.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright. And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon and
I think
you're
so.
Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
To food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Hi, it's your business diva here, Melanie Collette of Money Talk with Melanie on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m., we talk all things money on a global, domestic, and household scale that affects you and your wallet. You don't want to miss it.
Times are dark. The people are misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation looking for direction needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, Pundit Press, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guy. Because the truth is not always pleasant.
You know, Dave, when I finally get big enough, I want my own band. There you go. Take it away. There you go. You're listening tonight to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. First to the Republican and then the Socialists. Just want to make an announcement. This is from White Mamba. He talked earlier today with BZ, and there will be no Bobcat Saloon tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You can always get a remake, a copy, a past play, and listen to it. But apparently, Sir Mark, the blow-eating Zeppelin, is ill. He be got the flu, and he be feeling real, real bad. So pray for him, and make certain that there is a river of chicken soup flowing by his home. Please make certain that that happens. Wow, what a great first hour with Eva Rosenberg. Wow! I want you to know something. I got one of her gold books. Deduct Everything, and also Small Business Taxes. And she autographed it for me. Forgive me, I know you can't see the name. I want to make sure you see the name. There you go. And it's great when you get the autograph book, and she wrote in there, Ken, you need to lose weight. No, no, she didn't. She wrote in there, to Ken, such a gentleman, hugs, Eva. Eva is just the sweetest woman in the world, but she's the best at what she does. And I'm encouraging you all, out of that first hour, you all need to make certain. Thank you, Dave, for setting up a prayer for BZ and for his healing and wholeness. But you're listening tonight to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We're not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then the Socialists. Want to thank everybody who piled into the Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECN chat room. Some of you all didn't think I was serious, but she was answering your questions as you were piling into the chat room. And that is awesome. See, that's the power of TECN. It really is. And when you have individuals like Ralph J. Chittum's in there, when you have, of course, Dave Milner from SHR, Mary Brockman, my bouncer-in-chief, White Mamba, my boy. And I need to talk to Mamba about many things legal and tax-related, because he's just a genius in the chat room. He really is. And the beautiful Claudia Cheek is in here. Oh, wow. What a beauty. But we always crowd it off with Mary Brockman, my bouncer in chief. Let's see, can you write off the Orwell Dam spillway? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, you can come to the exceptionalconservatorshow.com. You can come to the TECS tab, and that's where we are at this particular hour. And Eva Rosenberg is still in the chat room. That's how dedicated she is to making sure that you all are profitable. Okay, because which means that if she's in the chat room, some of you all might hit the little clinkety clink there and say, "Hey, privately, I'd like to talk with you." I'm just saying. Many great opportunities. Take them as best that you can when you can, so that you are the most profitable person that you can be. I want you all also to know that this week we will be at CPAC 2017 against my wishes. Against my wishes. But we will be at CPAC, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you all to be there with us. I want you to know that we will be covering this for you. We want you to be a major part of it. We want you to listen. We have put the times up for CPAC that we will be there. And that will be at the National Harbor, of course, in Maryland, which is right across the bridge from Washington, D.C. We have already had a setup where we will be broadcasting live from CPAC. That will be on Thursday at 3 p.m., on Friday at 3 p.m., and on Saturday morning from 10 to 1. We will be broadcasting. Eva's gone. Eva has left the building. And we will be broadcasting via Spreaker, so you will be able to get it. You can click on that, share that with all of your friends and family for this great event. And we want you to be a big part of it. And we want you to, if you can't be there yourself, like Milo, we want you to listen to us when you can. Poor Milo, lost a book deal, lost his job. Oh boy, you got to be careful who you say pedophilia to. You know what I'm saying? If you're into that kind of thing, which you shouldn't be, but if you're into that kind of thing, you got to be careful. You got to be very careful. Tonight, I want to speak to none other than the beautiful and vivacious Janis Hall, who is with us tonight. Let's get that in there. Okay, apparently I'm having a difficult time with this particular thing. Okay. All right. Let's get Janis Hall in here. We love Janis. Janis is the bestest. That's a beautiful young lady. She really is. And a brilliant young lady, too. Skyping it. Okay. 1 ringy dingy, 2 ringy dingies, 3 ringy dingies. Taxmama.com. Remember it. Janis Hall, the J Hall World Report coming up. Even as we speak, she brings the complexities of this world down to a level in which we can all understand it. Okay.
Hello, you have reached Janis. Please.
Okay. We missed you, Janis. We got. Oh my goodness. We gotta try Janis again, and hopefully we give her a few moments here. Okay, here we go. We're gonna try one more time. Okay, and we will.
Lost.
I don't know why that does that. Okay, so we're gonna try one more time. Here we go. Janis Hall, J Hall World Report. All right. Okay, we missed Janis Hall this particular evening. We will catch her next week on the exceptionalconservatorshow.com. and the Exceptional Conservative Network. I want to talk with you about Sweden this particular evening because there are a mass number of concerns that I have at this particular juncture. And also, Janis and I spoke of earlier today. And apparently, Donald Trump made some comments that individuals discarded as not real. That he was lying about Sweden, that there was no problems with Sweden. And thank you very much. And the truth of the matter is there are some serious problems in Sweden tonight and from the weekend. Now, there are residents in Stockholm who have witnessed clashes in areas that are basically Mohammedan driven. They are no-go zones. I don't know how you can get immigration rights to a country and then create a no-go zone. That is, it befuddles me how you can actually do that, but they have done so. No Jay Hall to break it down for us. No, I will do my best tonight on behalf of Janis Hall. It's so pitiful that I must. But in all seriousness, that particular incident, those particular incidents, and Sweden are a great cause of concern. Now, Donald Trump made some assertions based on a Fox News segment. Now, remember, there are individuals that believe that Fox News is fake news. You just move around some of the letters and it just is what it is. And on Friday night, Tucker Carlson interviewed a filmmaker named Ami Horowitz. And Ami Horowitz spoke of the fact that the government has gone out of its way to try to cover up some of the problems in Sweden, where there was a huge wave of Muslim migration, or I would say it was invasion of Sweden and Germany and France and Greece and Italy. And quite frankly, some of the concerns that were spoken of on Tucker Carlson's Fox News show was the large number of rapes that were taking place in the country of Sweden. Apparently, immigration is a huge problem. Sweden processed a record 163,000 asylum applications in 2015 alone. However, there are a number of concerns that in the Muslim or Mohammedan community, women are being raped and pillaged and basically mutilated. And so apparently there are those who believe that reporting this kind of stuff is fake news. And I want to give you the background. This is from the, in fact, this is from the New York Times article, and we'll put that in the chat room for people to understand. It was written by Peter Baker and Sewell Chan earlier in the weekend. And we were being told that there are no problems in Sweden, none whatsoever, and that once again, fake news, Fox News, has virtually smitten the President of the United States, and that he is so unresearched, so off the beaten path. We don't understand how you all, American people, could have possibly chosen this dim-witted fool to be the President of the United States. There's nothing going on in Sweden. Everything's peaceful. I don't know why you're reacting in this particular fashion. Why are you so Islamic phobic? Well, it didn't take long for things to go downhill on Friday evening after Donald Trump was being virtually vilified for making his remarks. We were being told, based on those remarks, that we shouldn't believe anything that Donald Trump says from now on because nothing was happening. Well, that particular evening, there was a huge breakdown. Thank you very much. And there was a Stockholm suburb that drew a great amount of attention because of rioting and clashes there, burning of cars. And what was it all about? Why was this going on in Sweden? Well, about 20 to 30 masked men threw stones and other objects at police officers in the suburb of Rinkeby after the police arrested a man on suspicion of dealing drugs. I know that's part of the immigration requirement. You're supposed to deal drugs as a immigrant. Well, Horowitz is making the assertion that this is the least of the problems in Sweden selling drugs. Now, a police officer fired a warning shot, but the disturbances continued for several more hours, stretching into the early Tuesday morning. But apparently, Donald Trump is the liar in chief. There's no truth to what Donald Trump said. We don't understand how we could actually get this kind of story from Europe through the New York Times, no less, that are covering this particular story. The bottom line is that there is a problem in Europe. There is a problem in Sweden, in Germany, in France, Greece, Italy, and other places, Austria, and so on. There is a problem here, and the problem has nothing to do with Donald Trump. The problem has everything to do with the matter that the Europeans have decided, without a shadow of a doubt, that first and foremost, Americans need not know what the truth is, okay? And most certainly, Europeans need not know what the truth is. Put that in the chat roll there for you who are following along at home. And you can spread that abroad. Dave Jungle Bungle Milner says, Ken Worth, they tell us reporting this stuff actually causes it. And you're absolutely right. But I asked this question of you. Are we really causing this, or are we reporting it? And the truth is, we are reporting what's happening in Sweden. There are those at the governmental level that do not want the Swedish people to know that this stuff is going on. In fact, Swedish officials criticized Donald Trump and his statements about crime in their country as exaggerations. And they said the preliminary statistics do not show a major increase in crime from 2015, when the country processed a record 163,000 asylum applications. And that disturbances like the one that took place that went on for hours are not unprecedented, but are infrequent. And I love that. Don't you just love the way liberals can use or turn a phrase? They're not unprecedented, but are infrequent. I mean, what is infrequent when you define it? I mean, well, they only burn down the neighborhood once a week. So, that's very infrequent. So I want you all to be very alert to what's happening in Sweden as we reported to you tonight. Because Interior Minister Anders Ygeman called the clashes on Monday very serious, but he added, there is work being done to make our suburbs and socially vulnerable areas safer. I don't know what a no-go zone is, but apparently it is a vulnerable area that needs to be made safer. I don't know. People invade your country and take over neighborhoods, and they claim it as their own, and you can't go there even though it's your country. He goes on to say, sometimes it can get a little messy, but the police are not backing down. Well, the police shouldn't be there in the first place, having to rescue an invasion against an invasion force. Rinkeby is an economically deprived area of about 16,000 people. So I want you to get this picture. They came into Sweden. They found an area where people were poor, probably not well educated, and in need of rabble rousers, people that really can't do anything for you, but you begin to join onto their cause, and out of your anger and hostility, you react. And you might even win the grand prize of conversion. Well, apparently in the New York Times, they refer to this as right-wing news media in the United States and elsewhere have insisted that Sweden is covering up evidence of migrant-related crime, a claim officials in this prosperous Scandinavian nation, which has a long humanitarian tradition, have rejected. So first and foremost, New York Times wants you to know rich people don't lie, except if they're Donald Trump. Okay? So get that. And that prosperous nation was made prosperous not because of capitalism, but because of socialism and all of the efforts of progressivism. So they want you to know that, which is not true, but they want you to know that. And that as a prosperous nation, that you have to have a humanitarian tradition. You got to be giving stuff away in order to be seen as a great and noble nation. So apparently this great and noble nation in and of itself, because of its prosperity, although it has a little distinct suburb that is known as economically depleted, depraved maybe, home of the Mohammedans, we don't turn that way. We look towards Stockholm, and Stockholm is just a really wonderful place to be. Okay. But I want you to know that number that we reported earlier, between 20 and 30, and the first New York Times reporting, well, they report in the second offering that the clash has intensified and it jumped to 70 people. So if the government would tell you only 30 people on maybe Monday night or Friday night, and by Tuesday you find out that it's 70 people, do you think maybe the government might not necessarily be reporting to you all of the facts, or maybe only the facts that they are willing to report to you? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I believe Ami Horowitz, and I'm going to do my best to try to get him on my program. And I want you also to remember that we have with us now on our network, starting on Sunday at 10:05 a.m., Leslie Ann Stoffel from the Real Clear Israel. I'm quite certain she'll be more than willing to talk about this particular issue. But I want to leave you with this particular note. Benjamin Dosa, a 24-year-old, is appointed member of a local board in Rinkeby. And it distributes public money for schools, social services, parks, and recreation and elder care. He wrote in an opinion essay that Mr. Trump's critique had some merit. Now, I want to put this into you all so you understand that while the government will try to lie to you and make you lie, the people know the truth, and the truth will set you free. This is a man who does not have a reason to lie. Can I repeat that to you? He does not have a reason to lie. He is a humanitarian. He is a philanthropic. He is a giver. He is a supporter. Doesn't have a reason to lie in all the world because he sees the poor face to face. This is what he writes, and I'll put this in the chat row for you who are following along at home. Good night, sir. Have a very good evening. Ralph takes leave at this time period. But here you go. This is what it said. A battered journalist, stones thrown at the police, and stores that are being plundered, unfortunately, are not unusual occurrences where I live. Now, wait a minute. Doesn't that sound like, wait a minute. Doesn't this sound like something else that you saw during the inauguration? I'm going to put that quote in there for you so you can spread that quote. You know exactly where it comes from. But let me show you. Does this remind you of something? A battered journalist, stones thrown at the police, and stores that are being plundered. unfortunately, are not unusual occurrences where I live. Doza goes on to say, and he is his father was a Turkish immigrant in Sweden. He wrote in his essay, "I hear the police helicopter every other day. This type of criminality has become part of everyday life." So I want to ask you right here, Mr. and Mrs. Liberal Progressive who's listening to me on the down low, who's telling the lie? Is it Donald Trump telling a lie to get at the people of Sweden, that he hates the people of Sweden so much because they're so progressive and so loving and caring and orderly and humanitarian, philanthropic, just lovers, just trying to reach out their arms for the Mohammedans? Because Donald Trump is a anti-Semitic, racist, Islamophobe. Is that the, or is it that the Swedes have a government that's not backing them at this point? Because their government, like in Washington, D.C., regarding sanctuary cities, and when you come back, we're going to talk about that. Their government has decided, shh, it's not them, it's us. Just want to say, Sweden, Donald Trump didn't lie. Number two, you need some real change. Some real change. We'll be right back with more of the best right after these messages. You're listening to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation. First to the Republican, and then the Socialist. My bouncer, Mary Brockman, and I will be right back.
Hello, I'm Donovan Larkins, pastor of Spirit of Life Christian Center in Dayton, Ohio. But I'm also the director of Shekinah Ranch and the Shekinah Ranch Protecting Innocence campaign. And today I want to just share with you some of our materials that we've developed so that you too can be part of promoting prevention, education, and safety awareness to youth. We have now our Protecting Innocence t-shirt. It's a powerful marquee or billboard that you can purchase and wear yourself that brings awareness that children need advocacy. It's a powerful, powerful piece. It's simply a picture of that with this marquee here with some additional wording on it, and you will want to be a part of that. We have posters that any of you pastors or any of you community centers, you may want to obtain some of these posters and post in the recreation center. It would be great to post this in the foyer of your church. It would be awesome for you to post this throughout the schools of your community. Involvement is what's necessary. Involvement is what makes the difference. We know that in order for evil to triumph, all that is necessary is for good men and women to do nothing. And then we have these little marquees. You can order 100 of them, you can order 50 of them, and you can pass them around to your family. You can pass them around at a family event or a local event that you're going to be at a festival or something. These are very handy, they're very cost efficient, and they make a powerful statement. They really make an impact. And then we have our Protecting Innocence ribbon. And in this package, it's not only just the ribbon, but it also has a message, a safety awareness message, actually a tip. And the tip encourages parents to exercise scrutiny with the relationships that your children are involved with. Today, we see more and more children being victimized by teachers, by coaches, and by other people, other supposedly trusted individuals. And we have to prepare our children if we plan for them to be safe. And then you will want to be involved with the overall Protecting Innocence campaign, because we're making plans right now to build a retreat recovery center on our 150-acre campus where Shekinah Ranch is housed. And you can get this brochure. We can email it to you. That way there's no cost associated with it, so that you can learn how you can join our Protecting Innocence teams. We are communicating with people globally, all over the world, that are interested in how together we can protect children from dirty, evil child molesters. We love to have you on board. We need your support. We want your prayers, and we welcome your financial contributions. Again, I'm Donovan Larkins, Shekinah Ranch Protecting Innocence Campaign. And by the way, camps are coming. So call us so that you can register your child at 937-422-6029. We'll see you later.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donovan Larkins, the Shekinah Ranch, Dayton, Ohio, Protect the Innocent. Right next to the Euro Pacific Bank Limited TECN chat room is a red button. We want you to hit that button and donate. We're trying to save and recover the lives of young people, children as young as 3 years old, who have been sexually abused. They have lost their trust. They have lost their hope. But the Shekinah Ranch gives them both back. Please donate today.
Good morning.
I'm Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Okay, folks, that's not how it goes. I think I'm Shannon and you're Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. We are The Right Way with Shannon and Mike.
Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Live on SHR Media.
And on TECN.
Where we'll be talking about all kinds of things.
From sports and politics.
To food and entertainment.
To money.
Family.
And anything else in between.
Community, holidays, all kinds of things.
It'll be great. Join us from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Hi, it's your business diva here, Melanie Collette of Money Talk with Melanie on the Exceptional Conservative Network. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m., we talk all things money on a global, domestic, and household scale that affects you and your wallet. You don't want to miss it.
It's a love story like no other. From God's heart to yours. And for 30 years, it's been at the heart of every book, Bible, CD, gift, and resource from ChristianBook.com. Over 500,000 products, always at the very best value. ChristianBook.com. Everything Christian. Because it's our story too.
Hey, it's Jersey Joe from the Reaver, Common Sense. You can catch me every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on shrmedia.com. That's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, shrmedia.com.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. Ladies and gentlemen, what would you do if the person you put in charge of your city decided that their progressive principle was of greater value than your tax dollar? What would happen if the person that you decided would be the mayor of your city would attempt to do something that was so antithetical to the Constitution that it might actually disrupt the city in its progress? You know, the same progress that you say that you are working so feverishly towards healthcare and education, and you got to put the kids through school, and you got to make certain that if the mommies and the daddies don't love them, that the state will and will provide for them according to your precious will. What happens if the person that you put in charge of your state decides that your city's not worth, or your state's not worth, the value of its tax dollars? I want to talk with you tonight about the mentality of those that put at risk the public safety, the education, the well-being, and economic development of your city. Now, many people in Washington, D.C. are unaware of this, but I will make them aware that the D.C. government takes in $11 billion of revenue in taxes. Now, a lot of you all would say, 11 billion, are you really serious about that? Yeah. $11 billion. It's the same amount as the amount of missing Obamacare subsidies. But I digress. Apparently, the District of Columbia has actually brought in $11 billion worth of tax revenue. Now, where are they getting that tax revenue from? I want to explain it to you so that you understand that you are equally responsible for this. They're getting that particular money from revenue from increased tax collection. Now, how are they? Are you talking about income taxes, sales taxes? I'm talking all of the above, but mainly because of the real estate taxes, which have grown mightily through the Obama administration and its deviate of government contracts and wealth throughout the city. The federal government has been pushing out money out the door. And when the federal government pushes money out the door, this being a government city, the District of Columbia, there is no other industry here. I mean, we're not digging for gold here. I'm just telling you, there are no oil wells here. There's no real IT, economic development, Silicon type valley, and this is government land. Meaning your American tax dollars come in here in our coffers. And it spurs economic growth because people can pay themselves exorbitant sums of salaries. Amazing how the progressives don't mind the leftists that pay themselves exorbitant income for philanthropic work, of course, but have a real problem with someone from Goldman Sachs making $1 million. Just saying. But those individuals pay $2 million, $3 million, $4 million for a 2-bedroom condo on M Street overlooking the river. Well, guess what? That creates a great deal of tax revenue that had not been there before. And so what do leftists do when an exorbitant amount of tax revenue comes in through the state, or at least the District of Columbia under home rule? Well, they decide that they wish to dole out that money. Oh, no, not give it back to the people from which they were taxed overly. No, they wish to dole out that money in government programs, thus keeping people on the plantation. And you'll often hear them say to other people, you remember what I did for you? So that's exactly what those dollaries are there for. So as they're pushing out this money, the District of Columbia has an $11 billion revenue source, tax revenue. Now, I want you all to know that the District of Columbia did not go through the recession that you all did. Okay? Hardly. Wasn't going to happen. Not prudent. No, we didn't have the same recession that you all. The Great Recession, we never had a Great Recession. We had a sniffle, but we didn't have a Great Recession. So, money's pouring in, tax revenue, real estate. But individuals in the Bowser and previous Vincent Gray administration decided that they were going to be anti-constitutionalists. I don't even know if they've ever read it. I don't even know if they have a copy of it down at the D.C. City Council. Doubt it very seriously. But apparently, that particular institution, the D.C. City Council, pushed Mayor Vincent Gray. And trust me, when I say push when it comes to a progressive, it was more like pull. Come on, we're all going together. Through a executive order, made the District of Columbia a sanctuary city. Now, I don't know how a Congress that was Republican would allow, well, wait a minute, they weren't Republican. Under Democrat rule, a sanctuary city was created in the District of Columbia, the nation's capital, your city, right under the eyes of those in Congress. And I want you all to know that because we are a sanctuary status, there are threats from Jason Chaffetz out of the U.S. House of taking over the D.C. government once more. Somehow people believe that home rule gives them or establishes some type of sovereign independence from the Congress. No, baby, you need to read the Constitution just one more time. Just one more time. Well, in either case, the district government has been very haughty, and especially Miss Bowser, Muriel Bowser, who is the mayor of the District of Columbia now, who went to New York to meet with Donald Trump, the president-elect, and told them that we're not changing a thing. We are a sanctuary city. Even with the threat of loss of federal dollars, they decided that, you know what? We're not changing. Our principles are all that matter. Well, they're getting news, rumblings, out of the Treasury Department and out of Capitol Hill that there might be some digression towards that fevered pitch. They received news, and it's been reported in the Afro, the Washington Afro. Is it the Washington Afro? It's just the Afro now. It's printed in Baltimore. But in the Afro, that D.C. could lose $1 billion for being a sanctuary city. Now, I don't know how it got through Congress in the first place. We just have to accept that it did. But certainly, D.C. is a sanctuary city, which basically means sanctuary cities protect and offer asylum to undocumented, they call them undocumented immigrants. I call them illegal aliens or individuals who have crossed the border or stayed longer than their visas would allow. Also, you will find them collecting the federal dole, welfare, food stamps, things of that particular nature. Well, here's a promise from Donald Trump and his leaders that enough of this. enough of this. Now, this is going to negatively impact black residents. I want to put this in here. For those who are in the chat room, this particular, and you can spread it. I want you to spread it. Okay? That the Democrats are anti-black. They really are. The same group of people that need the services most will be those who are hurt the most. Why? Because there's something peculiar about a group of people that wish to take down the U.S. government. They don't abide by laws. Not your law, not any law. No law applies to them. They have forged a sanctuary city, and to heck with the U.S. Congress, which has constitutional oversight over Washington, D.C. Well, according to Donald Trump, jurisdictions that prevent police officers from inquiring into the immigration status of residents, and remember now, these were the same people that under Obama were fighting so that the Supreme Court would tell the states that you had no authority over immigration. Now they want the federal government to change that. I digress. Jurisdictions that prevent police officers from inquiring into the immigration status of residents or refuse to cooperate with federal deportation efforts contribute to harboring potential criminals and should be held accountable. Okay? Apparently, enhancing public safety in the interior of the United States are not eligible to receive federal grants except as deemed necessary for law enforcement purposes by the Attorney General or the Secretary. Do you all understand why they were working so hard to fight against Jeff Sessions? Jeff Sessions, who was working very harshly and was a firster when it came to Donald Trump. He was the first on the Trump train as a U.S. Senator, was fighting against immigration reform done by those moderates and leftists in Congress, and was spelling it out very crystal clear. We are a law-abiding nation. We are a nation of laws, and we have borders. And those borders need to be respected. Well, now he's Attorney General. So the message is getting out through an executive order. That Attorney General and the Secretary of the Interior, the Treasury Department, and many other agencies now have the authority to take away federal funds. Now, what is that going to do? In the District of Columbia, I'll put this out for you. You can shed it. You can share it. Muriel Bowser has decided that the district government will come up with these losses. If the federal government does what it says it's going to do, and remember now, the federal government does have authority over the District of Columbia, even though those people in D.C. don't believe it. They will cut $1 billion. This is the district government that will have to do this. They will have to cut $1 billion from the district budget. Now, you bring in $11 billion, and the way these greedy progressives think, the next budget should be $13 billion. Because we can always spend more than we collect. We have rainy day funds, right? Well, that $1 billion along with an additional $1 billion, $2 billion will be cut from that $13 billion proposed budget in 2018. Where are you going to get $2 billion from? Literally, you could knock the District of Columbia into a $4 billion shortfall based on the fact that you over budgeted $13 billion by $2 billion, and then the government's going to come in and take another $2 billion away, federal government at least. That's $4 billion. That's a huge shortfall. But let's just take a look at what gets cut when it's only $1 billion. D.C. Public Schools and the D.C. Office of the State Superintendent of Education, $267 million. D.C. Department of Human Services, $173 million. D.C. Department of Health, $128 million. Now, I want you all to know that those dollars are attached to people's jobs. D.C., those dollars are attached to jobs. Your good government job could be lost. And black people could lose benefits that they have become acquainted with because Muriel Bowser, Mendelsohn, Jack Evans, and the rest of that liberal body down at the district building believe that an illegal alien is worth more than your kid being in school. If you don't remember anything I said tonight, I hope that you remember this, ladies and gentlemen. God bless America, and it's time now for America to bless God. We'll be back tomorrow night with a very special guest, Dr. Keenan Grinnell, and we'll be talking about manufacturing pre-CPAC. Listen, God bless you and have a wonderful, wonderful night.